Deathcare is admittedly an uncomfortable but critical field to watch. The demographic trends here are unavoidable. As the boomers continue to age, the need for funeral services, estate planning, and related industries grows. And two big players are worth noting in the funeral and cemetery space: Service Corp International and Carriage Services. In industries like these, where certain companies dominate and benefit from scale, it makes sense to grab shares in the market's leaders. Listed private equity companies are bound to see a boom too, as retail investors look to gain exposure to the alluring world of private markets without having to cough up millions of dollars. Firms like Blackstone and KKR have been expanding their retail-friendly products, offering access to alternative investments that younger generations increasingly crave. To piggyback on this growth, you could invest in Blackstone or KKR directly, invest in their private equity assets, or go for an ETF like the Invesco Global Listed Private Equity ETF PSP 1.79%. Part 4. Evolve your strategy. In a market full of fast-moving themes where trends can go viral overnight, momentum investing could become one of the market's most powerful strategies. Momentum investing sets aside the desire to invest purely on long-term fundamentals, instead focusing on what's already working, finding stocks or sectors with strong price trends and riding those moves until they shift. This strategy fits the new market mindset perfectly. After all, with sentiment driving so much capital, assets that do catch fire, like an AI stock after a big breakthrough or the whole crypto market after a regulatory green light, tend to rise quickly and dramatically. Momentum strategies can help you adapt and stay nimble, grabbing the upside without having to predict the whole future. Another smart way to think about positioning is to use a barbell strategy. On one end of it, you can stack those high-growth, higher-risk investments like fintechs, crypto infrastructure, and thematic tech plays. And on the other, you can load up your more stable, long-term baits like real estate, infrastructure-backed REITs, and those dreary but steady deathcare leaders. That way, you get the potentially explosive upside of trend-driven momentum, along with the cushion of those more predictable plays. Here's what the strategy could look like in a portfolio. Remember, the great wealth transfer isn't all about who gets the money, it's also about how that money reshapes the future. And you don't need to inherit piles of money to benefit from this shakeup. You just need to see where the capital is going and get there first. Part 5. Consider the things that could go wrong.
Now, the great wealth transfer does seem inevitable, death being one of life's few certainties and all. But there are a few risks that could delay or disrupt its journey. For example, a major market dip, a recession, or a real estate crash could shrink the value of those inheritances before they ever change hands. Or a string of new government reforms, new inheritance taxes, say, or changes to step-up basis laws could eat away at what gets passed down. Or hey, medical advances could change the story, extending boomer life expectancy and delaying those inheritances. And that could mean that crypto, fintech, and Web3 might not get that fresh capital infusion, at least not for a while. So to mitigate these risks, make sure your portfolio includes some barbell-style balance, a mix of trend-chasing growth and those more stable, income-generating REITs and infrastructure plays. If the transfer ends up being slow and choppy, resilience will matter as much as riding the right trends. The key is to stay proactive, not reactive. Align your portfolio with the future, not the past. Look for the trends that rising generations care about. Balance your risks, but don't shy away from growth. And remember, in a world where trillions are changing hands, you don't need to be born into wealth to build it. The next chapter of investing is being written now. Make sure you've got a seat at the table. If you found value in this, follow Breakthrough Bizz, where we break down the big money moves that shape the world, so you can make your own.